dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you'll want to run. Do you know? Do you
Welcome
know?
to Sensible Secondhand Classics, a series where we look at practical and sensible cars that are over 15 years old. You can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 1973 Triumph Toledo. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So Triumph Toledo was British Airways' attempt really to kind of make the Triumph 1300 a bit cheaper to produce. In 1970, when the 1300 finished production, it was replaced by two different models, this Toledo and then the 1500. The 1500 retained the front-wheel drive layout, whereas this Toledo is rear-wheel drive. It had a similar engine to the original 1300, but obviously mounted longitudinally with rear-wheel drive. And this is a much sort of, I don't know, lower specified car. If you wanted the luxury that you could get of a 1300 or 1300 TC, the dealer would probably sort of usher you towards the 1500 or the 1850 Dolomite, which came out in about 71. The engine up front is a 1.3 standard SC engine, which develops about 58 horsepower. You could actually get a different version of Toledo with a 1.5 engine that was supposedly for export, but I think some were sold over here as well. At the start it developed 61 horsepower or 64 horsepower with the twin carbs on it. Later that year the power got upgraded to 64 on the standard one, but I think that the twin carb version got a bit more, but the information I have is a little bit rubbish and it sort of says it around the same, which isn't true. For sure, in 1975, the 1500 TC model got 71 horsepower, which was equivalent to the Spitfire at the time. Certainly this feels fine. We're just driving around town today, we're not going very fast. And it feels fine. The steering wheel's really, really large, so it's very, very light to drive. Gearbox feels very similar to a Marina gearbox. It's not exactly the same as one of those, but it's, I think the later ones where it got a new gearbox in 75 would be similar to that. In fact, in 75, the Toledo got an awful lot more sort of equipment and was upgraded for its final year. It was replaced in 1976 with the Dolomite 1300, which had the long tail as opposed to the short tail of this car. It's actually quite sort of user-friendly because we've got a 73 car here. We've got servo-assisted front brakes, which is good. They've got discs. The early ones were all drum, and I don't like all round drum brakes viewers. I've had too many experiences driving Morris Minors of all round drum brakes with no servo, and yeah, it's not my favourite. It's actually quite well behaved in traffic. We're not using any choke or anything like that. For a car that's over 50 years old, this is a 73. I'm actually quite surprised how civilised it is. The driving position is a little bit weird. You sit quite upright, and you have to sort of get used to the fact the steering wheel is so big. I think the Dolomites later on got slightly smaller wheels than this, but it's a really nice kind of trip back in time, this to what things were like about 50 years ago in the world of motoring. And this lovely example is just a great way to sort of celebrate what was maybe not so bad about BL. BL did some crazy things. I mean, re-engineering this car from front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive was a bit of an extreme measure, in my opinion, to keep the costs down. But you know, people who bought these in large numbers, including my parents. My mother used to tell me about the one that she and my father had in the 70s, and it didn't leave too much of a positive impression on her. It wasn't like the most reliable car, but I got so excited about the fact that they had one that in 2005 I bought a 1980 Dolomite 1500 SE for £750. It wasn't the best example of one of those, but they're still not massively expensive cars. This particular car, it cost around £5,000, and it's in really, really good condition actually. There's some issue with the clutch. The clutch is a really common problem with these cars for some reason, and That's one exceptional. It was in the concourse section, but it took quite a lot of effort to get it there. I'm pleased it made it. What a delightful looking little car. This is a 73, so fortunately it does have the improved brakes. We've got servo assisted front discs in this. Very, very narrow little tyres. Lovely colour actually as well. Got the plug hole to spare on the side, because, you know, it's the 70s, it's British Leyland, so we must have one of those. You can get a two-door Toledo as well. I think that's the one my parents had in the 70s. Obviously I wasn't around then, but my mother used to tell stories of her Toledo and I didn't like it very much. I think I'm more of a fan of these than she is. Compared with the 1300 that I drove earlier this year, I don't think it's maybe quite as stylish. We've got sort of evidence of maybe just when you go into a Triumph showroom in the early 70s, then the dealer's going to maybe want to push someone like me up to a 1500 or 1500 TC, depending on what year you look at with a Toledo, because those were, you know, a bit more powerful, a bit better equipped. Also, they had the long tail. This is with a short tail, like on the 1300s. I'm looking at boot first of all. Very familiar boot lock to someone like me. I used to own a 1980 Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE, so this brings back some memories for me, even though this is a much earlier car. So not bad actually in here. It's not quite as big as a Dolomite. After 1976, all of these were main Dolomites, and we all got the long tail. So yeah, perfectly easy to sort of get things in and out of there. No rear folding seat. Not pretty much what to say really about that. Rear heated window, which is good. I'm not sure we got those one of these as standard with these early Toledos. Let's get in the back and see what sort of room we've got in here. It might not be very much. Can't remember now. So just vinyl seats in here, one piece vinyl bench, no rear seat belts of course, because they weren't required to be fitted until about 1987 I think it was. Little ashtray in here, of course. We got more ashtrays. Oh, that's stiff, wow. We've got more ashtrays. We've got a four-door rather than a two-door. We've also got the slightly nicer bumpers on this model. The early Toledo two-doors didn't really even have wraparound bumpers on them, although people fit them. So you sink nicely into the seat actually, so it's similar in here to the 1300. Yeah, it's sort of okay. If you have very small children, or you're only carrying people in the back here for a short journey, it's not too bad. It's quite a small car really, and it's actually a lot more spacious feeling in here than you'd imagine. For some reason that's on the left rather than on the right hand side. I don't quite know why. I mean, I'm presuming that most of these would be sold in right hand drive markets, but there we go. No wood door caps like on sort of the posher versions of this design. Obviously, you know, if you want one of those, you're going to be having to buy a Dolomite or a 1500 or 1500 TC, something like that. This, no, you just get the vinyl door cards and the vinyl seats, but maybe that's all you need. No centre armrest or anything like that. Actually, this back seat's in really nice because they tend to sort of split at the top of here for sun damage, but this is okay. It's good. Everything's been retrimmed in here. This car had a really expensive restoration a few years ago, so interior is absolutely lovely. Right, let's get in the front, shall we? Look at this view, is the classic old British Leyland door mirror. Fantastic. I was expecting to see some wing mirrors on this, but it doesn't have them actually. Personally, I prefer these door mirrors. They're a bit easier to use for someone like me. There we go. So big steering wheel, presumably to help you steer without power assistance, which obviously none of the cars in this design got. Yeah, the lights and wipers are on here, just a little single stalk. Key actually goes in this side here. Not as luxurious as even the 1300 really. We don't have as many instruments in here or anything like that. And then we've got the plug hole to spare again on the pedals. 4-speed manual gearbox. I think it's the only one you could get in a Toledo as far as I remember. There's the workshop manual that shows a 2-door Toledo there. Interesting. I thought the 1300 Dolomite continued right the way through to 1980. Why it's just to 78, I don't know, but there we go. Glove box, same as in a load of these cars. It's a bit of a pain actually to get that open. I think we'll have to leave that actually. Same really stiff little ashtray. I'm not going to open that one open. as well. We'll just leave that. Little rear quarter lights there, and for some reason they've actually changed the design of the window winder from the sort of earlier 1300s, because those actually had a recessed window winder. Craig's very kindly going to open that glove box for me, which you need the key for. There we go. I don't think these secret mission documents are going in there, viewers, unfortunately, or we do get a glove box slide. We've still got this lovely fake wood. You can tell we're in the 70s, can't you? So, yeah, you can put loads of things under the dash as well. That's where the secret mission document would go. No door pockets, but of course, if you can put things in there, then that's fine. It doesn't really matter, does it? Other than that, it's quite simple, really. There's not really a lot to say. We've got controls for the heater and ventilation here, which we might need today because it is quite cold, and no hazard warning light switch, which I don't think was required at this time. Yeah, we might need some of that as well on there. I remember in my 1980 Dolomite, the choke wouldn't stay out, which was really annoying. You had to sort of, I don't know, hold it with one hand whilst you were driving if the engine was cold, which was really, really annoying. Yeah, it feels quite comfortable actually. I'm not sure if these seats recline at all. I think they might be fixed actually in this car. Later Toledos you could get things like reclining seats and a bit more luxury. We don't really have much luxury in here at all. You know, I'm much more sort of Dolomite 1850 person than one of these, but it's just amazing to sort of sit in here and think, well, you know, in the 70s, this is what my parents were driving around in. Stereo's just down there. I don't think it's a 70s one. It's probably a little bit later than that. This one, maybe a 1980s stereo, but it looks great in there, doesn't it? It looks fantastic. In fact, this whole car is just brilliant, really. Anyway, let's have a look under the bonnet and look at the standard SC engine. What a lovely sight. Forward opening bonnet, of course. And here's the little standard SC engine, 1296cc, generating about 58 horsepower. Fortunately, in this car, we've got the servo-assisted disc. You can see the brake servo is not a remote one, it's right in front of there. Carb goes on the side of the engine, I presume to preserve this bonnet line. There's the little stay. It's really, really simple, actually. Even changing a battery, which I had to do on my Dolomite, is actually really simple in this car. There's really just nothing to this at all. Nothing to sort of really get complicated. Overhead valve engine, unlike the 1300, which had a very strange kind of arrangement with the engine where the gearbox was on the bottom of it and actually the starter motor was right at the front, which made it quite noisy when you started up. This is much more conventional. Rear wheel drive layout, and you know, just get to anything you want. The car's got electronic ignition, of course, which is a very sensible upgrade for the 2020s. Other than that, yeah, there's not really a lot to say. This is one of the cars with the sort of silver grille. Later ones sort of like different grille to this, but that is fantastic. Right, let's go out for another spin. Once you get used to this really, really long throw gear change, it's a little bit sticky, although it's typical of cars of this sort of era, and this enormous steering wheel and this very, very upright ground position, it's absolutely fine. You know, I've driven cars that take a lot more getting used to, but are much newer than this. And this engine's pulling really well. It might only have 58 horsepower, but it's absolutely fine. I actually quite like this. I can see why, you know, Craig, who owns this car, bought it, and I sort of want another car on this platform as well. Obviously, the car's right way through from the 1365 to the Dolomite that finished in 1980. They're very good, and you could probably pick up a slightly worse example of one of these for about £2,000 to £3,000, and you know, I'm sort of quite tempted. I probably would go for something like the 1500 Virginia TC, which is a bit more power, a bit more equipment, and that sort of quad headlamp nose, as opposed to this very sort of poverty spec looking twin headlamp nose. But for a sort of slice of quite wallet friendly classic motoring from the 70s, it's pretty good actually. So viewers, in conclusion, should you buy a Triumph Toledo? Well, if you're my parents, no, clearly not. But if you're Craig and you've got the problem of the clutch sorted out in here, I don't see why not. This is actually a really nice car. It's in lovely condition. I don't like this sort of seat belt that's a bit twisted, but never mind. It's better than the original fixed one that would have been in the car. Obviously, these rust, you can have sort of problems with the clutch, but one of the main problems with the car is the clutch, actually. Once you fix that, then it's sort of okay. But I think parts availability is actually reasonably quite good. This engine was in so many cars for so long that actually parts are generally all right. It's a bit weighty to work on than the 1300, which was front-wheel drive, being a rear-wheel drive car. But yeah, I don't know why I thought I wouldn't like it, but I do, viewers, and you know, that goes for anything on this sort of platform that was you know, a successful Michelotti design over a period of many years. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Thank you to Craig. Let me have a go in his pride and joy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you very soon for some more reasonably priced nostalgic motoring.